Once upon a time, in a warm and sunny country, surrounded by forests, rivers, and green meadows, there lived a little hedgehog. His country was beautiful. In the mornings, golden sunlight poured through the trees. Clear streams ran between mossy stones. Birds sang in the branches. Bees hummed among the flowers. And in the evening, the whole forest smelled of pine, grass, and wild berries. The hedgehog had a small house, under an old oak tree. He had a vegetable garden. He knew where the mushrooms grew after rain, where the sweetest berries could be found, and which part of the forest was best for collecting nuts. He worked hard. And sometimes he came home tired, with dirty paws and a hungry stomach. And yet, instead of being grateful, the hedgehog often complained. "Why must I work so much?" he grumbled one evening, carrying a basket of mushrooms home. "Why must I look for food? Why must I repair my roof? Why can't I simply have everything I want?" He looked around at his little house. It isn't very comfortable. The roof leaks when it rains. The winter will come soon. Perhaps there is another country where life is easier. The next morning, he packed a little bundle, put it on his back, and set off. "I'm going to find a better country," he announced. He walked for many days. At first, the road passed through beautiful forests. Then the trees became thinner. The birds disappeared. The air grew colder. And one morning, the hedgehog stepped into a thick gray fog. He could hardly see his own paws. "Where am I?" he whispered. He walked on. Soon, he heard voices. "Who are you?" The hedgehog turned around. 3 foxes were standing in the fog. Their eyes were narrow and suspicious. "I'm a traveler," said the hedgehog. "A traveler," one of the foxes laughed. "Then you've come to the right place. Here, nobody works." The hedgehog's eyes lit up. "Nobody works. Why would we?" said another fox. "We take what we need." "From where?" "From those who have it." The hedgehog didn't quite understand. But then the foxes brought out a large basket filled with apples, bread, nuts, cheese, and honey. "Where did you get all this?" he asked. "We took it from the sunny lands beyond the forest." The hedgehog looked at the food. He had never seen so much. "Well," he thought, "perhaps I have finally found the country I was looking for." The land of fog was certainly comfortable in one way. The hedgehog didn't have to plant anything. He didn't have to gather mushrooms. He didn't have to repair his roof. Every evening, someone brought food. At first, he was delighted. "Perhaps I was right to leave home," he thought. But there was something strange about the country. Nobody smiled. Nobody trusted anyone. The animals were always nervous. They spoke in whispers and looked over their shoulders. Every noise in the forest made them reach for a weapon. One evening, the hedgehog was sitting beside a fire with an old badger. "Why is everyone so angry here?" he asked. The badger stared into the flames. "Because we are always afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Of losing what we have." "But you have so much." The badger gave a bitter laugh. "That is precisely why." The hedgehog was silent. A few days later, something happened that he could not forget. The animals returned from another raid. They were carrying sacks of grain, baskets of fruit, and pieces of clothing. Everyone cheered. But among them was a small squirrel. The hedgehog had seen her before. Her name was Lila. She was sitting alone beside a tree, holding her paw. "What happened?" the hedgehog asked. "Nothing," she said. But her eyes were wet. "Where did you get that?" She pointed toward the sacks. "From the forest beyond the fog." "My home is there," said the hedgehog quietly. Lila looked at him. "Is it beautiful?" The hedgehog remembered the green meadows, the clear streams, the blue sky. Yes, he said. Very. Then why did you leave? The hedgehog didn't know what to say. I thought life would be easier somewhere else. Lila looked at the sacks around her. Is it? The hedgehog looked around. The fog was thick. The food was plentiful. But nobody was singing. Nobody was laughing. Nobody trusted anyone. And somewhere far away, he suddenly imagined the sound of a little stream running over stones. That night, he couldn't sleep. He remembered his old oak tree. He remembered the smell of wet earth after rain. He remembered birds singing in the morning. He remembered how tired he sometimes was after a day's work. And suddenly, he realized something. He had never been unhappy because his country was poor. He had simply failed to appreciate what it gave him. Yes, he had to work. But his work gave him food. His garden gave him vegetables. The forest gave him mushrooms and berries. The river gave him water. The sun gave him warmth. And, most importantly, nobody needed to be robbed for him to have these things. The next morning, he went to the badger. I am leaving. Where will you go? Home. The badger looked at him sadly. You'll have to work again. I know. You'll have to grow your own food. I know. You'll get tired. I know. The hedgehog smiled. But I will see the sun. He left the land of fog. The road was long. His feet hurt. His bundle was heavy. But with every step, the fog became thinner. And then, suddenly, sunlight. Warm, golden sunlight. The hedgehog stopped. Before him stretched his old forest. There were green meadows. There were birds in the trees. There was the river, sparkling in the morning light. The hedgehog stood completely still. Then he laughed. He ran down the hill as fast as his little legs could carry him. My forest. He reached his old oak tree and looked at his little house. The roof still leaked. The garden needed work. There were weeds everywhere. And he had never been so happy to see them. He rolled up his sleeves. Well, he said, picking up a shovel. Let's get to work. And as he worked, the sun climbed higher into the sky. The hedgehog suddenly understood something he had never understood before. Honest work may make your paws dirty. But it lets you walk in the sunlight. A life built on taking from others may fill your house with food. But it fills your heart with fear. The land of fog had plenty of things. But it had no sunlight. It had no peaceful streams. It had no birds singing in the morning. And most of all, it had no peace. The hedgehog looked up at the blue sky. I don't have everything, he said. Then he smiled. But I have everything I truly need. And from that day on, whenever he grew tired of work, he remembered the land of fog. He remembered its endless gray mornings. He remembered the frightened eyes of its animals. And he remembered the little squirrel asking, if your home is so beautiful, why did you leave? The hedgehog never forgot the answer. Because sometimes we travel very far to discover the value of what was already ours. And he lived happily under his old oak tree, working honestly, sharing what he had, and enjoying the sunlight. For he had learned that home is not always the easiest place to live. It is the place where your heart can live in the light.